If you have a small business and you really want to start seeing more leads and more sales, then stick around because today I'm going to be sharing 7 marketing strategies that any small business can do, starting with the first one, which is really going to help you stand out, and that is handwritten postcards. You see, in the world of digital, it can sometimes be quite challenging to stand out, especially with all of the competition out there. But let's say you could create something that's very, very personal to that person. It's definitely going to help. And if you're sat there thinking, I don't really have the time to write these letters out one by one, or you've got terrible handwriting like me, don't worry, there are plenty of companies that actually do all of this for you. Just adding that little personal touch in a world where I think we are dominated by digital and AI in 2025 is really going to help you stand out as a small business. The next way you can stand out as a small business this year is by optimizing your landing pages so that they can convert. Yep, I'm talking about your website here, and this is normally going to be the first thing that any potential customer is going to see, so you need to make sure that it's right. I mean, you could literally have the best lead generation strategy on the planet. You could have a video that gets hundreds of thousands of views that brings people to a website. You could spend hundreds of thousands of pounds on ads to bring people to your website, but if your website sucks, all of that effort is pretty much going to waste. But don't worry, your landing page doesn't need to be anything ridiculous, just needs to have a few kind of key principles to it. Number one, it needs to have a bold headline kind of outlaying your USP. You also need to be able to tell the customer or the potential customer the benefits that they're going to receive by buying your product or using your service. It definitely needs to have some social proofing on there, whether that's customer feedback or maybe some logos of some companies that you've worked with or you've partnered with in the past. And of course, it needs to have at least one call to action throughout there. Otherwise, no one's ever going to do anything on there, whether that is a add to cart button or maybe an inquiry form that somebody has to fill out. You need to have at least one call to action, but I would probably aim for multiple. And then finally, if you can tie all of these together into a nice, clean and simple landing page, you are going to start converting a lot more often than one that isn't. The next way you can market your small business and stand out in 2025 is by doing something called automated social media outreach. Because remember, when you are a small business, the likelihood is your customer, especially on social media, isn't going to be out there looking for you specifically. They may be searching for a search term to do with your business, but if you want them to come to you, the likelihood is at the start, you are going to be the one that's going to have to reach out to them. And I know, I get it. It's going to definitely come down to the time thing once again, whether you're going to actually have the time to do all of this outreach. But the good thing is, this is where the automated outreach on social media side comes into it. And there's some really good tools that are out there that can actually help you do this. One of them being actually Dripify, which I have actually used in the past for B2B outreach. You can use it for B2C as well. But basically, the way that Dripify works is you upload a list of the type of people that you want to reach out to on LinkedIn. So maybe you wanted to target directors of a company. And then basically from here, Dripify will actually automatically create automated customized messages and follow-ups that you can send to them over a certain period of time. So maybe you could have an introduction message on there. You could then kind of tell them about your business. And then maybe if they were to respond, you can then come on there manually and actually kind of start talking to themselves if they're more of a warmer lead and start directing them to maybe a product or service. Obviously, that's very high level and there's so much more you can actually do with it. But the good thing is they do actually have a free trial. I'll leave a link down in the description for you to check that out. I don't think you have to put any card details into it as well. You can just use it for 7 days, and when it runs out, it runs out. The next marketing strategy I'm going to put on the list is going to be influencer marketing. And I think this is going to be really powerful in 2025 and even beyond that, because I think people are starting to get fed up with the general commercial ads that are out there, which is all coming from the company itself. There's no real authenticity on there. I would even stretch as far as going, people are sick of seeing celebrities on posts and ads, because you just know that that celebrity likely hasn't even looked at that product, and you know they're probably just getting paid millions of pounds to do that. And this has all worked in the past and it will continue to be effective in the future. But when it comes to targeting those micro influencers and those smaller people that do still have that kind of influence on potential customers, you can really bring a lot more authenticity to your brand, and the conversion rates are probably going to be much higher as well. I'll give you an example on how you can do influencer marketing for a small business. Basically, if you've got a product that you want to sell more of, you take that product, you then target a influencer in your niche, Preferably the smaller influencers actually work better because number one, they have a much higher engaged audience, and number two, you're probably going to be able to do it for cheaper, if not free, just by sending them your product, which will only cost you the cost of your product. And then basically from here, all you need to do is ask them in return for a free product or maybe a really small fee for them to do an honest review of your product to their audience. But that's basically influencer marketing. It's a lot more authentic than paying for your standard ads. But if you were to pay for your standard ads, there is still a really good way, and the only way that I really am focusing on in 2025, and that's going to be Google pay-per-click. And the reason why I prefer Google Ads over any of the other advertising sites is because Google Ads is pay-per-click. This means that you don't have to pay for any impressions on your ads, and you only pay when a potential customer or client actually clicks on your ad and goes through to your website. And obviously why this is so good is that if you do have an optimized landing page and your keywords are great and you're targeting the right people, you're going to be converting a lot more people for a lot less money, despite Google Ads being typically more expensive than the other platforms. A couple of tips for if you were looking to try out Google Ads. Number one is definitely take advantage of the free keyword tool that they have built in. Basically, you're able to type in any keyword that you want to rank for, and it'll tell you exactly how many searches that it has every month, what the trend has been over the last 3 months, I think, and even better, how on average much people are actually paying to click on the ads for that keyword. The second tip is to definitely put so much time into actually creating the ads and working on your ad copy, because at the end of the day, better ads on Google is going to get more clicks, and more clicks is going to equal more conversions. And then finally, if I haven't mentioned it enough, you really want to be optimizing your landing pages, especially if you're going to be spending money on Google Ads, because once again, if you can get people onto your website, that's the hardest part done. All you need to do from there is actually convincing them to actually take an action on your website, whether that's buying the product or filling out an inquiry form. Short form content is the next marketing strategy you should be looking at as a small business this year and for years to come, and very much tying it in with the influencer marketing side of things. It's going to bring you more authenticity. People's attention spans are also a lot shorter these days with the introduction of TikTok and Instagram Reels and whatnot. And you're also going to save a lot of time in terms of creating the content, because of course creating a 20-second to 30-second video is going to take a lot less time than writing out a 3,000 word blog post or article or something like that. The next marketing strategy is optimizing your website for the Google rankings. Now, you've probably heard of the term SEO. This stands for search engine optimization. And basically all this means is optimizing your website so that you can rank higher than your competitors for when they search your key terms on Google. The way I like to think of it is if you can get your SEO on point, you basically get the similar benefits to Google Ads without actually having to pay anything. In terms of how to improve your own website SEO, there's 3 areas that I would say you definitely want to be looking at. First off, you've got your on-page SEO. This is going to be things such as making sure that your titles and your headings and your paragraphs in your website copy are going to be including the keywords. You're also going to make sure that your website speed is up to scratch, because Google does actually look at that. The next thing, if you haven't guessed it already, is going to be off-page SEO. This is basically things such as creating backlinks to your websites from other websites. This is going to create more authority on Google for your website if a website with higher authority is linking back to you. And then it's also got some things such as sending social signals by sharing your website more on social media platforms. And then the final part of what I would say is the essential areas of SEO is to do more content. So this is actually creating more blog posts on your own website. This is going to attract different customers looking for different keywords, and then your goal within those blog posts is to provide that value and then get them to click through to other areas of your website. The one thing I would say about SEO is that this is going to be a long slog, and you're gonna have to be consistent with it. I would say to see any results in terms of SEO is going to be anywhere between 6 to 12 months. I'll show an example of a screen of a client that I've worked with over the last kind of 12 or 13 months. As you can see, for the first 3 or 4 months, we saw hardly any results whilst we were still putting lots of effort into the SEO. But as you can see, the benefit of SEO is that over time, this can only snowball, and the results that they're getting every single day are just increasing to new PBs, and they're actually generating a lot more leads for free, purely from their website actually ranking higher. So that's what, in my opinion, are the best marketing strategies for small businesses in 2025 and probably beyond that. If you liked the video and you got some value from it, drop it a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.